kicking off our first Mind Your Boundaries, Ask Me Anything. I'm gonna go as fast as I possibly can because we have a ton of questions that came through. The first one is, should I keep trying to have a relationship with my daughter-in-law when she doesn't want to have one? This depends. Has she verbally told you, I'm not interested? Or is she just repeatedly declining your invitations? The reason why I asked that is because my mother-in-law was really good at inviting me to things, but I had some social anxiety and discomfort, and so I declined all the time. But one thing I love about my mother-in-law is she never stopped trying. And if it doesn't take much for you to say, going out for coffee, just send her that 2-second text, or take 2 seconds to send her that text. And if you keep getting rejected, it's okay, it was 2 seconds. Our oldest daughter told us that she needed a break from the family, and that's been 2 years ago. First of all, I am so sorry. Second of all, I recently did a podcast episode about this. It's America's silent epidemic right now, which is adult-child estrangement. If you want to check that out, episode number 10, and I'm going to be uploading another video diving even deeper into the topic and helping you guys get on a path of reconciliation, and that will be releasing tomorrow or Friday. I'm upset with my mom, but we are currently working through it. Should I invite her to my 3-year-old's birthday party? Yes. So what I would do is say, Mom, you know we got our stuff going on, but I don't want you to miss little Johnny's party, so let's just container it. We're not forgetting about it. We're going to container it. We're going to enjoy the party, and we'll come back to it after the festivities are over. The reason why I say, yes, absolutely invite her to his party, you're going to have pictures and photos. You know, he's old enough to really be interactive, and you don't want grandma missing out. How do you bring up noticeable memory loss with a parent? With that parent. Maybe somebody else has a better answer to this than I do that specializes in just dementia or Alzheimer's. From what I understand, which is very limited, is you don't want to draw attention to it, because I believe that once they start to become aware that it is very noticeable, they become more and more isolated. They want to go out less, they want to stay home more, and which only exacerbates it even more. So if somebody else has a better answer, please chime in on this one. But for me, I would just be patient with, let's say it's my mom. I would be patient with her. I would allow her to tell me the same story 8 times. And that's how I would go until there was a safety concern, and then I would approach it differently. How do you deal with a mother-in-law who stopped talking to you after you announced your re-engagement? I would reach out to her. I would just say, hey Linda, I noticed you've pulled back since we announced the nuptials. I'm wondering, are you okay? Do you want to talk about anything? Just let me know. I'm available whenever. If she ignores you, I'd wait a little bit, reach out again, just say like, okay, just checking in on you. And if she ignores you again, then I would give her space. I would allow her to process the announcement and hope that she comes around so that she can help you plan the wedding. Congratulations, by the way. Daughter-in-law is disrespectful to us in our own home. Can we tell our son she is no longer welcome anymore? Yes, you can. And what I fear is as soon as you do that, you could unleash a whole bunch of things that you wouldn't like consequences such as estrangement, or they cut you off, or something really bad. And if you are willing to take that risk, then go ahead. Other things I would try is you could try to pull her aside. Maybe she doesn't realize it's disrespectful, or I would plan activities outside of my home. If it's really getting to you that she's doing it inside your home, then plan get-togethers away from your house. My boyfriend is a widow. His daughter can be very judgy, for example, about my divorce. Any ideas how I can respond to her? Yeah. First of all, you need to have your own personal boundary, knowing that it's really easy to judge when you haven't walked a mile in my shoes. So just anything coming from her, just be like, take it with a pile of salt, because she's never been in your shoes, so she really doesn't know. And it's really easy to have opinions when you have not been through hell and back. And so, first of all, I'd have that. And second of all, how you respond is she can have her opinions. It's okay that she believes, for example, if she believes she would never ever get divorced, good for her. If she said like, yeah, that would never be me, I would never ever get divorced, I can't believe you did that. I think that's wonderful. It's painful. It's the worst thing to go through. I hope you never get divorced. That's how I would respond to that. How do you not feel bad about setting boundaries? I think you have to know the definition of what a boundary is, so then you know the purpose of them. A boundary is a self-imposed rule or limit That makes you feel balanced and safe, and it strengthens your relationship. When you don't set a boundary, you are at risk of resenting people you're in a relationship with, pulling away from people, just hurting yourself. Like if you're not in balance, you're gonna be just, when I'm not in balance, I'm a garbage parent, I am a crappy wife, I am just a terrible human. So my boundaries help me be a better person to everyone around me. And so if I know that that's what boundaries do for me, it's easy to set a boundary. Sister-in-law, who's an addict, texts my husband horrible messages. Do we respond? No. However, I would let her know why I'm not responding. I would just say, just so you know, if you talk to me in this manner, you're not going to get a response. So I'm not ignoring you on purpose. I'm just having some dignity and self-respect. Like, how do I even respond to something like this? So you will not be getting a response from me, just so you know. How do you set boundaries with a toxic mother-in-law that's rude to your son, corrects your accent, and snaps at people for no reason? She sounds miserable. And for me, right away, when I know someone's miserable, I have empathy for them because there's no joy getting into her heart. And that would suck to live that way. And I recently did an episode on this, episode number 9, and it's how to deal with or how to understand mother-in-laws that have toxic traits. So check that out for a longer explanation. How do you feel confident enough to set boundaries? Like I said before, a boundary is about really strengthening the relationships. So if you don't want to resent people, then you know, like, I'm setting this because I love you. And when you set a boundary out of love and kindness and in order to protect and honor that relationship, that should give you the boost in confidence that you need. How important is sex in marriage? I'm 62 and he is 64 and I am just over it. I think we're all gonna get to that point where we're just over it and you beat him to the punch. Is sex important? I think intimacy in general is important because I do believe that our body is gonna start failing us at some point and things aren't gonna work properly. And we have to have other things to keep us going, like communication, other ways of physical touch and connecting. That stuff, intimacy, is important in marriage. And so if your partner, your husband, is still saying he wants sex and you're over it, my suggestion would be to get on the same page and just to kind of maybe even grieve that part of your life. Is because if there's no going back for you, then you guys need to figure out how to grieve it. And I would say couples counseling, maybe there's some tweaks he could do in the bedroom to like shorten up the process or something. Maybe you could discover that as well. So couples counseling is my best answer. How do you handle a mother-in-law that blames you behind your back for your kids' quirks, such as having to take anxiety medicine or go to counseling? Oh, that makes me really sad and that hurts me. And I mean, that's really ignorant, right? So I think for me, if this was me, I would just be very transparent with how much she's hurting me. So whoever is bringing me that information, I would let them know that's so hurtful. And I feel bad for her that she just doesn't have the understanding that I don't cause the anxiety and I'm only trying to be helpful for my kids. That's why I'm advocating for them and helping them get counseling. As far as talking directly to her, you can try that, but I don't know how helpful that would be since she is doing it behind your back. What is causing so many young adults to go no contact with their parents? I know, it is, like I think I said this before, it is a silent epidemic, and the leading subgroup is caused from a shift in values. So Gen Xers have a different set of values like loyalty, family is forever, and millennials and Gen Zers, it's more about individuation, autonomy, and they just have a different value system and they're not able to get on the same page. What is your degree in? I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, but on here, I'm just a coach. Really fast, how do you set boundaries with a covert narcissist? I'm having a baby in 5 days. Figure out what your boundaries are and hold the line. Whenever you're dealing with a personality disorder, it's all about consistency.